Green smoke, oh boy, who could it be? Maybe a U22 or a new DP. The fans await, the excitement grows. Can't wait to see who Roto shows. Green smoke, oh boy, who could it be? Maybe a U22 or a new DP. The fans await, the excitement grows. Can't wait to see who Roto shows. Green smoke, oh boy, who could it be? Maybe a U22 or a new DP. The fans await, the excitement grows. Can't wait to see who Roto chose.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome in to this New Year's Eve emergency live stream here in the North End. I'm your host, Zach Graham, joined as always by my good buddy. His name is Ian Michaud, and we call him
E.
I know you're sitting over there with a very active pup, so maybe in and out with the mutes for you here. But man, we just wanted to go live with kind of this surprise smoke, a little bit of a surprise, like kind of whispers started coming out last night, but a very quick turnaround from Sunday's rug pull with Fafa Pico. How you feeling, man? What are your initial thoughts here?
Incredibly excited. Really excited to talk about Ilie, a player that every time I watched him play, I was pretty impressed with. That wasn't a ton of time, but every time I did see him out there on the pitch, thought he was a solid contributor to a winning cause. So I'm incredibly excited about this. Obviously, we had the disappointment with Fafa, and I outlined that I was pretty discouraged with that, but we knew stuff was going to be coming down the pipeline here. And to go ahead and get a player like Ilie Sánchez is exciting to me, man. So I'm looking forward to chatting a little bit more about Ilie, seeing all the homies in here, getting excited about this upcoming season and the new prospects that will eventually be arriving.
Yeah, absolutely. I see P. Mike in here saying he listened to Sunday's episode and was hoping for the emergency stream. We see B in here. Said he captained an MLS Cup winning team. Ilie Sánchez seems like a good choice to Brian. Reglas in here. What a smart choice by Ilie. Will he make the right choice? That I think I'm already over the joke. Reglas, that's the last time I think that I'm going to allow that here. I've seen it everywhere already, and good to see Profe in here as well saying, welcome, Ilie. So if, we haven't really, and you see Vanilla in here saying, let's bring more culture for the Spanish speakers. And like, you say Spanish speakers, like España, right? Did Roto, like so far, it's like he went through like the available coaches and players and like Control F, who's from Spain, right? Like all of our Spanish coaches that we brought in. And here's Ilie here. So the club did announce this afternoon that they have signed Ilie Sánchez to a 1-year deal through the end of the upcoming 2025 season with a club option for 2026. And I guess like the timeline here, right? Kind of at a very similar time. So I bet this originated in the We Are Eston TV Discord because they tweeted, I think, Spanish flag, soon, tree emoji. Which, like, to be honest, when those boys tweet, like, just the emojis, like, they know something. Mm-hmm. And then Adam Ben-Laziz from Area Sports Network then said he had some sources telling him, who knows what they were, that Austin was in advanced talks to sign Ilie. Then this morning, we get the green smoke tweet from Austin FC owner Anthony Precourt. And then about 30 minutes ago, confirmation here from the club that it is in fact Ilie Sánchez. And you can see the kind of canned quote that he gave here. He said, in speaking with Rodolfo and Nico about their plans for the upcoming season, it quickly became clear that signing with Austin FC was the best choice for me. I want to thank them for this opportunity and look forward to playing at Q2 Stadium as a member of the home team for the first time. And I will say that, like, kind of like you mentioned, like we've always been, I think we've always had a lot of respect for what Ilie Sánchez has done on the pitch when we've watched him, especially against our favorite team. And I do want to talk about, right, like, I would not grade this signing a 10 out of 10 right now. At the moment. I want to talk about the age and the long-term plans and all that stuff. But like, starting with some of the positives, like, first of all, what Brian brought up in the comments there, like, MLS Cup champion, recent MLS Cup champion, played in so many big games with LAFC and was the captain of that team. And I just think it's fitting that the guy we get to replace Alex Ring's spot on the field, Alex Ring / Johan Valencia here, and we may still bring in some further midfield reinforcements in that defensive midfield, but that it is a guy that profiles so similarly with just the leadership qualities alone. Yeah. We lost a lot of that with Alex Ring, and you would think, even being a new face, that Ilie is going to be able to bring that, whether or not his play falls off a cliff as a 34-year-old.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a voice that's going to be respected. Absolutely. And we talked about Alex and the shortcomings that he had as a player on the field in regard to what he was producing from the counting stats and everything like that. But we knew the void that was going to be created from his departure in regard to how this team was going to look to find leaders, try to stay, positive and everything that's going on. It's like the hats that you have to wear as the guy on the team who has the voice. Now, I don't know if Ilie is going to walk in and be that immediately, but as I mentioned when I first started this right here, it's like he's going to be respected. You see his profile here, you see the stats, some of the achievements, the accomplishments that he's had. And like on an LAFC team, absolutely loaded with talent, they chose him to be the captain for their MLS championship. So I'm super excited about this. Some more positives. Obviously, he comes in not taking up an international slot, which is what we really was one of the most exciting things about Fafa, was that we were going to be able to get him in here without having to take up an international slot. Now you have Ilie come in here on the domestic, so we don't have to worry about green cards or trying to, move one of the international guys that we have right now or somehow acquire another international slot. So that is fantastic. Then from a need standpoint, and I guess I'm going to take a bit of your talking point here. Sure. With the Fafa thing, we have talented wingers right now. You have Hader, you have Book, you have the potential growth of CJ Fodry coming along as well. But there's a huge void at the defensive midfield position. So this was a position of need, much more so than any sort of wing position that you have there. And now you can start to see a little bit more of how that midfield is going to look. You get a guy who's a bit of an anchor here. And like you said, if his play kind of falls off a cliff, if this age catches up to him, I'm less concerned about that than I was with Fafa, because Fafa, one of his greatest attributes was his speed. And that's something that obviously you lose a bit, faster when you're aging a little bit here. But someone like Ilie Sánchez, who's able to control the middle of the field, get guys in position, make sure we're in our form and everything like that. That's stuff that you're not going to necessarily lose as you turn 35. So that will be yet to be seen. But I'm really excited about this. And I think this is a really good culture guy too for this team. Winning.
Absolutely. Well, checking back in on the live chat here. Our buddy Harry says, good afternoon, North End. Have a safe New Year's evening. I'm actually going to be down in Harry's neck of the woods tonight. He's a humble brag, got box seats to Spurs Clippers tonight. Woo. So that's a 6 p.m. tip. So I'm headed out of here pretty soon. We won't stream too long. Our buddy Mason in here saying he's unfamiliar with Ilie's game. Not going to lie. Brian helping out saying very good defensive / holding midfielder. Hopefully will allow Danny to push higher in the attack. And I think like the ideal scenario there is like Danny can start to become this like Darlington Nagby-esque 8 for us if Ilie is able to hold it down behind him. And I will note this. He's going to be 35 next year, but the only way Ilie plays a game as a 35-year-old for us next season is if we are deep in the playoffs. So I'll take that. Right?
Yeah,
so
go ahead.
I had to look. He's like almost to the day the same age as both Alex Ring and myself. So he's like 2 months younger than me. So I'm going to, pull back on the reins of calling this guy a geezer. And so like what I want to go through here too is like 8-year MLS veteran, like not just the fact that he's a domestic, like that helps the roster build. The experience in the league at a high level is big too for a roster full of guys that don't have a ton of experience in big games in this league and being on overly successful teams outside of the 2022 kind of flash in a pan there. 3 years with LAFC, previous 5 with Sporting KC. He's a 2-time MLS All-Star in 2018 and 2022. Won the Cup in the Supporter Shield, of course, back in 2022 with LAFC. Open Cup with Sporting in 2017. Open Cup with LAFC this past season. And he was Newcomer of the Year back in 2017. We already mentioned LAFC's captain. Again, also born and raised in Barcelona, Spain. Played in La Masia, the academy for Barcelona there. So, I don't see the timeline for when he was there in the press release, but we know Rodo was there. Like, he kind of helped get that the La Masia off the ground or to the next level right in this century. So maybe those guys have actually crossed paths before. That I'm not sure of. But looking at all of this, including his pre-MLS stops, the Barcelona academy, 114 appearances for Barca B, Munich 1860 in Germany's Bundesliga 2, right? La Liga 2 before coming over to MLS. And then the success he's had here in the league, I guess more just looking at it in a vacuum of MLS. Is he the most decorated MLS player that we've ever had on our roster? Because we've had former champs, right? Like Hector just left. He's a 2-time champ. I believe Nick Lima also won, I think, a cup with San Jose. I might be mistaken. But I don't think we have any 2-time All-Stars, Supporter Shield, MLS Cup champ, 2-time US Open Cup. I'm pretty sure that Ilie is bringing the biggest MLS resume of any player we've had here through the first 4 seasons, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe, but how many All-Stars did he have? How many cups did he have? I don't know. That's why, again, it's good to have a live audience here for you, Paul, to say. But yeah, Ilie is up there.
And then it's a short list.
Sure. And then going back to what you were saying too about the contract length too, I think it's good. And like I said about Fafa, I'm not sure if the salary cap is anywhere close to what we have estimated in our cap sheets. I don't think we have to really worry about what Ilie is getting paid this year, as long as we utilize those special roster slots for at least 2 of these acquisitions this summer. We should have enough space to bring guys, because he ain't going to be a DP. To Tom's point in the chat here, it says it mentions a senior roster slot in the press release here. To be honest, I'm not sure if they would designate that he was a TAM signing. That might be still on a kind of club to club basis. But yeah, just the 1+1 is it's perfect. He's not a long-term solution at the position. And to me, even just a 2+1 would have had me really gritting my teeth. I'm perfectly fine just taking the shot here for 1 year, because I think it's very high risk, low reward to me. Or the other way around, high reward, low risk rather, where if it doesn't work, we can just say goodbye at the end of the year. And we know what he's like. He still started 24 games for LAFC last year, and they didn't win MLS Cup, right? But it's still a pretty darn good team. Yeah, and he started more than 2/3 of the year for him. So again, is it a 10 out of 10 signing? No. We're taking a guy that he's leaving LAFC because LAFC this morning signed some 21-year-old that they got from Europe. Right? So he is their scraps at this point. But there could still be enough, for lack of a better term, meat on the bone here with Ilie, where he really elevates our midfield, especially in the defensive half, where we know we struggled, especially as Alex Ring started to decline. And like I said on Sunday's episode, when we brought up the possibility of signing Ilie Sánchez, I do think that he is an upgrade, even if it's just marginal, from what we were getting out of Alex on that side of the ball.
Yeah, I'm with you right there. And obviously he's a big upgrade over Joji. So this is someone who's going to be able to come in here. And as you mentioned, the 1+1 is fine. It could serve as a nice little stopgap where you get him in here. He is a solid contributor for this upcoming season, and we try to find a long-term solution later on down the road here. And, not every signing is going to be a 10-10. We have to fill this roster out. There are so many spots that needed to get filled, that need to be filled, so that every signing you're going to get in here is not going to be a 10-10. But this is a solid B+ signing in my book. Like I said, every time I see him, I've been excited to watch him play. He's a very, very good defender. And he also is able to do it without fouling and hacking people like the Punisher was known to do. So we'll go ahead and take that. I was looking at something else you had on there, but it just seemed like a good guy available for the humanitarian award. He won some other accolades as somebody who was contributing to the community. And look, man, that is an important thing here for this team. Like, we want guys involved in our community who are good people, good human beings. So I know that that's not like a super exciting soccer stat kind of thing, but like, he's a good dude. And like, you want to have good dudes on your team who are able to help guide some of these younger guys, teach them how to be professionals in this league. Over 20,000 minutes played in MLS, which is fantastic. So, I'm very excited about this, and I'm just ready to see what else we're going to go ahead and do, because we knew we had to get some of these foundational pieces before, or maybe not before, but we knew we needed these pieces, despite the fact that we still need to go out and get some studs and some dogs and some young bucks who can come in here and really change the way that this team looks. The things that I am a little bit worried about with him, like, let's not go all positive here. The things that we saw from Alex that we were concerned with and started to get frustrated with. We need him to be able to have solid pass completion numbers. And you see that figure right there. That looks pretty solid. That was one thing that was really difficult, particularly with Joji in that position, where we were unable to traverse the ball up the field because we struggled so much to pass it. And to B's point, I do hope that this is a bit of an unlocking moment for Danny here, to be able to be a bit more aggressive, to be able to be pushed up the field. And when we saw Danny at his best, that was what he was doing. And that also led to us looking our best at times when Danny was in that role and he was locked into it and he was performing it well. You have someone back here like this, and the parallels to Alex Ring are quite similar. Like, the comparisons absolutely can be made. And the thing with Alex, we obviously understood the number that he came in at, and how difficult it was going to be to keep him on that salary here. So I'm interested to see what Ilie is coming in at, because what you mentioned was 1.2 last year.
Yeah, we've got it right here. Yeah, so it was 1.267. So he was a TAM player for LAFC last season. I imagine it's below that number, but I'm not shocked at all if he's still a TAM player for us, just at a more minimal type of level, right? Less TAM being allocated to him than LAFC had to last year.
Yes, definitely.
Like, and you saw 850, 900, something like that.
That would be more than fine with me. And as you mentioned before, with the amount of cap that we have right now, you're able to pay him a little bit more here to get him to come to Austin. I think, from what he said, obviously that's going to be somewhat of a cookie cutter response, but hopefully he is excited about this. People can see, Rodolfo at the helm, the new hiring of Nico, how that's going to look, being a part of an iteration of a club that is changing now is an exciting prospect. So, you look at the interceptions numbers there, the blocks numbers. He's a fantastic defensive player. Are we going to see him score goals, rack up some assists? I very much doubt that he's going to get to the assist numbers and levels that Alex was at, but I'm okay with that as long as he's unlocking the Sebas of the team, the Dannys of the team, allowing those guys to not have to worry so much about both sides of the ball. And one thing that we have been incredibly frustrated with is our inability to get the ball to Seba in dangerous positions where he has to drop so far back. If Ilie is capable of getting him the ball higher up the pitch, that's good business to me. Like, that's great news.
Yeah. Well, and I also don't think we should ignore the other side of the ball. If he helps Brad Stuver not have to face the most shots on target in the league, which I actually don't know if he came in number one in that. We know he was number one in saves. Like, that is a big boost too, to take some of the pressure off the back line and off our goalkeeper. I do want to, before we jump into this chart a little bit more here on FB Ref, look who's here. A buddy RB in the chat. Haven't heard from RB in a little bit. Can't wait for the new season. Can't wait to see you, buddy. And look, Phil, I already, I put the ban on already, but it's day one. Okay, well, and especially because we love Phil, right? What a smart choice by Roto going the other way here.
I was gonna make the tire joke, because that is a big knock on Ilie's career, because that is a terrible, terrible commercial.
Yeah, sure.
It was an awful commercial.
Yeah, Well, he's probably offsetting some of the pay cut he's getting this year from the paycheck from that, given how many times we saw it. Proface asking why is he better than Johan Valencia, both on the field and roster spending wise? Well, because Johan we were playing with 10 and a half players on offense when he was out there, I think is number one for me. And he says Diego Fagundes has a title. Yeah, well, after Austin FC and with 0 starts this season, Profe. So trophy in full effect here today. We can keep it moving here. Phil says he'd be shocked if he wasn't TAM because he was almost on the 1.3 million last year. And Phoenix saying it seems like the club knows he isn't a long-term solution. It could mean something else is in the works for winter, next winter or this summer. Vanilla Mexican says he's checking the Austin FC website, doesn't have him as TAM. I don't know if that would be posted this early, but again, it's something all of us, of course, if you are in this live stream right now, you're a sicko too. You're going to be checking that website. And if you miss it, one of us will find it and we will all know as soon as it happens. Cam in here saying we could definitely have done worse. He'll take it. Very, very much agree. Yep. I think we were looking at the list of available free agents on Sunday's episode, and it was not impressive. And Ilie was, like, for defensive midfielders, he was the best MLS free agent that was left. I think that was pretty clear.
Yes, absolutely. And as we mentioned at the start of the stream here, he checks all those other boxes with the domestic, not taking up that international, being able to get him in here at a position of need. So we absolutely could have done worse. And this is something that, again, I'm just really excited about this. I think this is a good move from a lot of different standpoints. Like I mentioned, the leadership, the culture stuff, what he's going to bring to the field. So I think this is a very solid move.
Profe says, a strong number 9 is still the club's biggest need. Signing a vet like Ilie is fine as long as we get us a 9 we couldn't believe. And look, Profe is not wrong there. And I think we all agree that, right? Like, we still expect DP9 to be coming, or at least, in Profe's words, a strong 9, right? Maybe it's not the DP. I still think that's coming. And look, the Fighting Leslies are in here, said, crap, we thought this was an online beer shop. Look, we'll have some beers with the Leslies soon, I'm sure. Shout out to the Leslies once again for the Christmas boat party. Brian says he wants a 9 we could believe. Right? I just want to believe that it's coming, right?
Yeah.
So I did want to look at this because, like, the comparison, right, immediately goes to Alex Ring on this chart here at FB Ref. So we'll get a couple more zooms, and you can have this handy little button here that compares him to Alex Ring. So we'll call it the Verde on that chart there is Ilie, and then the red would be Alex Ring. And just like you mentioned, right, you see the shots, the assists, the XG, right, in favor of Alex. He was also playing a much more advanced position over the last year, right? I can't say year plus because he played more center back than anything in 2023. But he was much more advanced up the pitch, and you can see progressive passes received, I think, also is an indicator of the differences between those two players last season. But
and the differences between the two clubs.
Sure.
Let's use that too.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, right, like you saw it on the original chart, but even here in the comparison, you see he's bringing those defensive factors more often than not compared to Alex last year. And I think that's, again, it's good on paper. We're just going to have to see, man, is this the year that Ilie Sánchez hits the wall? It very well could be. And that is that is the risk of this signing. But again, you take that risk down by this being really just kind of like what, a 10-month contract, 9-month contract if everything goes to shit, because then he'll probably just be out of here. But again, and we will have to see how that plays out on the pitch and what the salary number comes in at, because the lower that salary number, I think, again, just on paper, the more likely it is that option could be picked up regardless of the outcome this season. Right? Because again, like, he's not the long-term piece. And if we need that salary cap this time next year, he'll probably be gone. But I don't know, man, like the name value of the player and what he has done to terrorize us outside of like 2 games in 2022 in like a 4-month span. It's pretty exciting, like, to be able to put Ilie Sánchez on the pitch with Sebastian Driussi, with Osman Bukhari. Like, I don't know, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, like I said, I'm very excited about this. And it moved kind of fast here. And I know that we speculated when we were talking about or taking a look at the available free agents, how nice it would have been if, he was one of the names that was popping up, and then boom, it pops up there. So at least we got one thing right this offseason.
Yeah. Hey, when you look at that mock offseason now, like we thought we had hit on the Fafa pickup there with a winger. I think we will still get a winger because, just because Fafa spurned us for Inter Miami does not mean that I guess we're not getting another winger.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we kind of have confirmation that will come, whether it's this window or in the summer, because we know Roto is hunting for one.
Yeah, I mean, it's just going to be, what roster designation that player is coming in at, because that was one of the most exciting things about Fafa.
Yeah. So both Profe and Vanilla Mexican in here saying who is going to be captain. That I have a soft spot for Svatak. I think he could take it, but this, I don't know, man. If we have the North End Sportsbook here, right? I think we're probably making Ilie a slight favorite here because Seba is off the board, right? It's not going back to number 10. Don't make that face. No, it's not.
I'll pull it.
No. You have to get one more lever pull in here for 2024. Oh man. I mean, and Phoenix says Cascante, maybe. He's that Cascante would be in the top 4 for me for sure. I think Brad, Julio, Ilie are probably the top 3 right now. And Svatak is just, I think, my fandom pick because I think he could be a good captain. Yeah,
I like the Svatak idea. I don't know if he's going to walk right in here and become captain. I really don't know. But he profiles as someone who could do it.
Yeah.
Was he I'm assuming he was not the captain last year, or did they just leave that out because they didn't win the cup?
To be honest, I'm not sure. Let me see captain 2024.
Well,
no, yeah, he was captain last year.
Okay. So that does make a little bit of sense to me. Obviously we have a new regime here. We have a new coach. We have some new staff as well. So I think they're going to have to go through their due diligence and take this into consideration that he could be wearing the band for us next year. And, I would not be upset at that. Again, we're going to have to see what it all looks like and see what the play looks like and everything, but he profiles as a guy that will help us out a lot, particularly at the position we desperately needed help after the mass exodus that we had with defensive midfielders in this offseason. Yeah, get him on there. Make him official.
Yeah, let's go ahead and let's live update here. The old North End podcast roster spreadsheet. My sheets are running extremely slow here. I do a lot of work in the Google Sheets, so these are running slow right now. But here we go. We'll get Ilie Sánchez in there. Slot 16. And not taking up that international slot. This is on paper, this is the spot we wanted to fill with a domestic. So give me Biru as captain because he knows it won't happen. But yeah, you don't have to tell E twice for that. I think, and I mentioned the interview that Nico did on Vamos Verde on Sunday's episode. One other thing that came out of that one, I forget the exact question. Oh, it was who is most likely to get the most yellow cards next year, and it was a snap. He goes Biru. Tom in here saying, in for Biru as captain. Maximum shithousery with Rubio as the vice captain. If you're looking for the maximum shithousery, that is the combo.
Yeah, they'd kick us out of the league.
So, I mean, this is signing number 1 of minimum 4, right? If we go into the season with 18 senior roster players, I will be shocked and probably upset. Yes. But it could be as many as 6 or 7 if you start filling out some of the empty supplemental slots and we get the remaining 4 seniors. So again, this is the beginning, and it could have been worse. I am generally encouraged by this. So I think it's a good way for Austin FC fans to ring in the new year, celebrating Ilie Sánchez arriving in Central Texas.
Agreed, particularly after the fact that we all, I don't know if we were all upset about the Fafa stuff, but It seemed like a done deal. And then you go ahead and get this in here, and like, I know that we say this, pretty routinely when we have a guy come in where it's just like, oh, well, look at the comments from the other, fans from their last team, the departing team, and the positivity and stuff that they have to say about him. But I've only seen really fantastic comments coming out of the LAFC crowd on whatever, posts I was looking at the time. So this is a good start in my book. This is a good start. And again, as we mentioned with the Fafa stuff, like the order of operations here can tint, how this looks. If this is something that has come in now, we got him in the fold. But as this starts to flesh itself out and play itself out throughout the course of this offseason and going into training camp and everything like that, we could get a look at the entire recipe that Roto has prepared for us.
So I'm just trying to look at here. I remember that Ilie did miss some time last year.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't appear in the injury history on Transfer Market, which, like, again, we don't trust Transfer Market for the values or all that stuff because a lot of it is just kind of crowdsourced. But, like, it doesn't say that he missed time here. So, like, he also could have been just passed up in that midfield last year with the bevy of options that LAFC had at their disposal in that midfield last year, right? Like, I'm pretty sure the last time we played them, both Ilie and Atuesta came off the bench, and like there were no holes in their starting 11. Maybe one teenager out there, but I was just checking that to like, is this a guy like Diego Rubio who like did spend a lot of the year prior to arriving in Austin injured, and then we saw his knee flare up after 2 or 3 months of heavy minutes. So like I was trying to make sure that we don't have any glaring issue here with Ilie, and at least on the Transfer Market tab here, they don't show any major injury issues from last season.
We'll take that. That is one thing for sure that comes along with the age. You can't bounce back the way that you used to after getting dinged up and everything like that. So that is encouraging to see that there's nothing on there that's like a glaring kind of red flag. But yeah, he started to lose a lot of time as the season progressed. In their matchup with the Whitecaps in the playoffs, he only got 17 minutes total in the 3 games there. So it's we'll see how it goes. I don't know if there's something to read into that, but obviously, they have a much talented roster, much better players than we do.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah, I mean, he profiles right until we get another midfield signing. I would slot him in for 34 starts.
Yeah.
Like, again, give or take, like, because you can rotate an Owen in there and pair him with Danny in a pinch, especially on one of those double game weeks. But, right, like, and so, like, Joel's in here. He says, Ilie is a class act. His presence is truly felt on and off the field, and says he wasn't hurt. He was taken out of the 11 to put in O'Brien and Tim Tillman. I think O'Brien, Joel, like, the way you're talking makes me think you are an LA fan here. So, like, O'Brien came in the middle of the year, I believe. Like, did he kind of unseat Ilie? And again, like, to your point, like, I was also scrolling last night after We Are Austin and Adam put out their tweets, because there was also like the Ilie posted his farewell message last night, which kind of, I think, kickstarted the whole kind of fracas on social media. And I agree. All I saw from LA fans was like either like, man, this hurts because this is our guy, and or this is a mistake. The front office is fucking up. So like I definitely did not see anything that was like good riddance. Like we finally got rid of Ilie.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, like they could have been in the situation that we had with Alex too. He's a TAM level player last year. He's an aging defensive midfielder. And it's hard to construct a roster where it's like, this is part of our talisman, where it's like this is one of our guys. So I can understand all that and why they had to let him go, but he will be welcomed with open arms by me.
Yeah, absolutely. Cam saying, Rubio's captain, Team Dark Arts. Hey, Slytherin is Verde. And Brian saying, this is a very good start to the offseason in Brian's mind. Gives him confidence that Roto is cooking up the 5-course meal. And Profe says, we were one of the last clubs to make a signing, so Roto is taking his sweet time. Well,
is that true?
I don't know, because
who's giving you this info, Profe?
Well, so like, look, Profe, you come in here, we're going to come correct as well. We'll get a couple zooms on the transfer tracker here. Like Columbus Crew, Evan Bush, their backup goalkeeper, re-signed. Okay, so
ain't-
Columbus Crew has not made an acquisition, right? Like, okay, Alex Harris, super draft. Like, he's automatically on a contract because he's GA. Cincinnati did get Kelvin Dinky, and then they purchased Luca Orellano, who was Orellano. Got my pronunciation correct there, E.
Lamour guy.
They just purchased him. He was already there on loan. So, like, some of these are, right, like, okay, Chicago signed 2 of their next pro kids. Great. Right? Like, they got Dean Bolts, GA guy. They signed a homegrown who was already there. Jack Elliott is their only signing. So, like, there is additional context provided when you look at how and where these signings came from. But, yeah, the old none for Austin. Let's see. I don't think that's updated quite yet, but I guess we could get a refresh just for the old shits and gigs. Yeah, see, so this isn't even updated yet. But first of many, I think that is Profe's last question here. I saw him ask it earlier, so we'll talk about it now. Who's going to take the PKs, Ilie or Seba? For me, it's an easy Seba.
Easy. Probably
the guy who you're paying $6 million takes the PKs.
It could be Biru.
Anything else for you, E, before we shut it down here on Tuesday? I got to get down to this Spurs game.
Love you, D-Gens. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, appreciate everybody who tuned in on short notice here on Tuesday. Or if you're watching on the replay, just want to remind you all, whether you're watching on the YouTube channel or you're listening to the audio replay on your podcast feed, that the best way to support the show financially is by downloading the audio version of all of our episodes. And you can go to wherever you get your podcast, toggle on auto downloads. You'll support the show going forward without having to think about it further. And if you are watching on the YouTube channel, subscribe to the channel. That also helps us grow the show. You can hit a notification bell to know when a live stream like this pops up or a new episode goes live. And of course, on this live stream, hit the thumbs up, like the video, help us battle the YouTube algorithm overlords, atone for your sins, wash yourselves clean in the hopium of the North End. Everybody have a happy and safe New Year's Eve, and we will see you back here on Sunday for your regularly scheduled episode of the North End Podcast. Until then, he's E, and I'm Zach. Vamos Austin FC, everybody. Green Smoke Song.
1, 2, 3, 4. Green smoke, green smoke. Oh boy, who could it be? Maybe you 22 or a new DP. The fans await, the excitement grows. Can't wait to see who photo shows. Green smoke, oh boy, who could it be? Maybe you 22 or a new DP. The fans await, the excitement grows. Can't wait to see who photo shows. Green smoke. Oh boy, who could it be? Maybe a U22 or a new DP. The fans await, the excitement grows. Can't wait to see who wrote out shows.